Welcome to Planting Joy Garden. I am out today prepping one of my vertical planters. I happen to use the green stalk vertical planter, and I will be placing leafy green vegetables. And I also will have that layer of strawberries. I may add additional strawberries. But what I wanted to share today is how I'm reusing my potting soil. So you'll notice I have these fibrous roots, and actually these fibrous roots are quite nutritious for my plants. It'll break down. The big portions of the plants, things like this, I removed, but I left as much fibrous roots as possible. Now, you do not have to empty out your green stalk every year, your vertical planters. I chose to do it because I had a frog living in it. And if there's a lot of frogs living in your planter, that means there's something to feast on. So I wanted to make sure I checked the soil and that I emptied the planter and inspect the planter for pests. And I found underneath, these are whitefly eggs. So since it's upside down, this is my opportunity, still cold outside, to just brush these whitefly eggs away. When I plant this year, I'll be reusing my soil, but this is going to knock down a big portion of the population, what's underneath the planter. I also check the watering trays underneath just to make sure there were no whitefly eggs. And there were. I knocked those off. So that's the reason why I dismantled this. I'm also going to replenish the soil by adding in a good portion of fresh potting soil and all the fertilizer I'm going to need. So follow along as I clean this up. So I'm simply just going to brush these little eggs off. Use a pair of gloves, use your fingernails, whatever. Just going to brush them away in their dormancy. It'd be nice if you had a nice little brush. So there you're going to wake up on the concrete. And it's a simple process. So I definitely recommend that you do this. And we're just brushing them off. And then you can follow it up with the garden hose just to make sure you left nothing behind. I also use these little tiny tools or whatever you have. You can use a little paintbrush to get in these nooks and crannies to make sure that nothing's left behind. So anything that's webby, you can scrape that off, or you can smash it with this. But I just want to make sure that I'm inspecting, and this helps to eliminate the pest population in my vertical planter. And now we're going to amend this soil. So I'm going to start off by just loosening it up. And then we're going to add fresh potting soil and fertilizer. So you absolutely do not need to throw out your potting mix. All you need to do is amend it. And that's exactly what we're going to do now. So before dumping this, I did just kind of look at the top of the soil to make sure there were no obvious whitefly eggs or larvae sitting on top. I removed what I could actually see. And as I mentioned, I do have frogs. So if there are some here, my friendly frogs would take care of it. And so we're just going to loosen this up. And then I'm going to add some more potting mix. Also, my soil level kind of dropped in the planter just from overwintering and because it was consumed by the plants themselves. All right, so let's add some fresh soil. And anything that's too fibrous that could clog the watering system, I will remove it. But for the most part, I leave as much as I can, and I'll just add these really fibrous roots here to my compost. Okay, so I'm going to add a good potting mix because this brand of vertical planter recommends a good potting mix. There's no particular ratio. I don't say like you add 50% new soil. I did not lose a lot of shrinkage. I did have some shrinkage from compaction and from winter. So I think I'll do maybe like 10% of new soil. Okay. And I'm just trying to raise the level of soil in my vertical planter. And I'll actually do I'll do this process for all of my containers that don't have perennials, my annual containers. I'll do this process. Okay, so now that we have that, we are going to add some fertilizer. I'm going to add some now, and this is not available immediately because it's still cold outside. We do need the bacteria to come out of dormancy to wake up in warm soil so that it can break down the fertilizer. So we're just going to add some fertilizer here, and I'm going to mix it in really well. I'm just going to finish off this bag, and I'm using an organic Omri approved fertilizer, and I do believe the numbers on here are, I can never find the numbers when I'm looking for it. Oh, it's in plain sight. It's a 636. Okay, so pretty balanced. And then we're just going to mix this in really well. And the soil is just a little moist. I am not going to pre-wet the soil because it is so heavy when it's wet, and I have to restack this container. I'm breaking up any clumps. So those two over there, where are they? That one and that one, I've already filled those and provided fertilizer. So I'm just filling these. All right, I think I have it mixed pretty well. And now it's time to fill. So I will not be planting anything in it today. I'm just getting everything prepped. Okay, and now to fill it, I just simply put the planter into the soil and I start shoveling. And it's just that simple. So I'll be back as soon as I'm done. Okay, so now I have eliminated the pest population from my planter. I've restacked it. I am going to cover it now in my frost cover, and this will help to keep, insects from moving in on me. It'll also protect the planter from excessive sun, and we still have a lot of weather to come, so I just wanted to get this task taken care of. And as you can see, everything's stacked up real nice. My strawberries that I just transplanted were placed on the top, and I am going to put them under the frost cover only because they've only been here for a short time, and I don't want to do anything to hinder them from coming out of dormancy. So thank you for joining me in the garden. This is a perfect time to inspect your planters for pests and get yourself off to a great start. Have an amazing day. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God.